When I was in high school, I was in love with a game called Street Fighter 2. So much so that I found myself finally taking up a sport, something I'd never done before, and going to karate class. I played the game, read the comics, watched the anime, and I was madly in love with the character of Ryu. I'm not tall, average by UK standards actually. When I was a kid, I didn't like football, and I still don't really. I was a little chubby and I didn't have many friends. This made me an easy target for bullies, and high school especially really sucked for me. I've always been drawn to strong, masculine heroes, and no, I don't think there's anything toxic or problematic about them. But neither do I have any issues with the more diverse cast of heroes that young people today are being exposed to. Anyway, I always loved how guys like Batman and He-Man didn't seem to be afraid of anything, or rather, even if they were, they never let that stop them. They were uncompromising and held themselves to higher values, and they didn't take shit from anyone.
I've won. I'm not afraid, Crane.
Being a weak little kid who was terrified of the dark, I think you can see why I might be drawn to those guys. Ryu, in many ways, was just the next in a long line of muscular fighters I'd grown to love and want to be like. So much so, in fact, that I got the idea that one day I'd move to Japan, live on a mountain somewhere, and have some angry old man begrudgingly teach me how to shoot fire from my hands. Well, now I'm 40, and I live in Japan. No, I'm not a world champion kickboxer, and I don't have magical ki powers, but I do take MMA classes when I have the time, and I've honestly been living my best life since I moved here 7 years, at the time of writing, ago. But more so than where I ended up, what's really important here is that I took a journey. And it wasn't some straight line from where I was to my dream either. Far from being a linear progression, it was more like a survival horror game, doing laps of the same area, beating my head against the wall at unfathomable puzzles, dodging lethal pitfalls and slowly unlocking more and more areas until I was able to get somewhere near where I'd wanted to be all along. I'm not here to tell you my entire life story today, but there is something I want to share. It's about taking journeys, something we do all the time when we play games, in fact. I'm here to talk about why taking journeys is so important, and about how the success of a journey is measured by far more than one metric, and least of all, by how much money you make, or what anyone else has to say about it. Because, just like any good RPG character, we don't get to the end of the journey without leveling the hell up in all kinds of crazy ways. And who we become in the process of taking a journey is infinitely more important than what we get at the end. It was in my early 30s when, after ending my marriage and moving back to my hometown, I got into fitness and working out. I'd been out of karate training since I started university, and aside from walking, I really wasn't challenging my body, and it had finally started to show. During the early stages of this process, I enjoyed listening to motivational speakers while I was getting ready to go to the gym. It helped to get me focused and excited for what I was about to do, and it helped with my adherence to a new lifestyle. There's definitely power in the words these people say, and some truth for sure, but the simple fact is, most of it is kind of bullshit. I mean, these guys talk a big game about coming from humble beginnings and following their road to success with single-minded tenacity until they reach the top of the mountain and literally pluck the sun from the sky. But are you honestly telling me that when these people were in elementary school and all their friends were talking about being rock stars and football players, that they were going on about being a motivational speaker? I mean, shit. I didn't even know that was a job when I was a kid. The truth is, these are just people with a product to sell. And a very cynical person might go so far as to say it's in their best interest that you don't succeed, because then you'll keep coming back to them for more. I mean, a cynical person might say that, but I'm not that guy at all. What's annoying though, is the truth is, in many ways, more powerful than the fictions these people craft to stimulate the right kind of dopamine response to get you all pumped up and ready to go. It's only a few people in the world who set out with a dream and are able to chase it down and achieve it through single-minded determination. And many of those that do, though by no means all of them, came from very privileged backgrounds to begin with, and had a hell of a lot of help along the way. Most of us don't even know what our dreams are. We drift towards something and we get pulled this way and that until we finally fall into something. And it's something we're good at. Something where we work with people we like and build friendships. Something that fits our schedule and helps us to plan for our futures and so on. Occasionally, the world contrives to shake things up, and we find ourselves cast out of our comfort zone and flailing wildly in the void until we land on something else. And then, we rebuild our lives based around that. And sure, when compared to the glamorous lives of the wealthy and the famous, it might seem like we live mediocre lives that don't matter, only that's an absolutely terrible metric to measure your life by. The idea that you failed or that you don't matter because you didn't achieve what 0.01% of the population of the world achieved is completely absurd. And as far as not achieving the dreams you had when you were a child goes, people change. Their priorities change. Mine did. And shit, even the world changes. Now look, I'm not saying don't go out and chase your dreams. In fact, I think you should go after them. Because if you're going to take a journey, it should be to a worthwhile destination. But my message here is quite simple. Taking the journey is just as important, if not more important, than reaching the top of the mountain. And honestly, the more absurdly elaborate and winding your road is, well, the more important the journey. Let me offer a couple of examples. So, let's use that earlier example of fitness. When you start a fitness journey, you're probably only interested in one thing, right? No, not that. I'm talking about this. People are obsessed with the number on the scales. To most, it's the only metric that matters, despite heaps of information talking about how deceptive and fickle this number is. The fitness industry, the aggressive part of it at least, is responsible for this. They create and promote the importance of this one all-powerful metric that measures your progress so that they can sell you literal snake oil to help fix the problem faster. A fitness journey isn't a quick fix though, and it shouldn't be viewed as one. It's a change for life. It isn't governed by a single metric on a set of scales. It's something that permeates through your entire life and affects your every moment from when you wake up to when you go to sleep. As someone who used to be that guy, constantly posting on Facebook about fitness, I can tell you it's a lot less about showing off, and more about being passionate about something that makes you feel absolutely incredible every day. I know it's probably kind of annoying if you don't get it, but hey, I'm just as fed up with seeing pictures of your kids too, so we're even, I guess. So, this number is one metric to gauge your progress by, but what about this number? Or this one. Or this one. Or a million other quantifiable metrics. What about this? Or this. Or just waking up with more energy and confidence every day. Respecting and loving yourself so much that it doesn't even matter if you don't look like Henry Cavill or those super skinny Asian girls dancing on TikTok. You're just happy to be you and have fun living the life you live. And in fitness, that may be the biggest secret. The thing no one seems to promote. Working out fosters a love of working out. The gym goes from being a chore that you are putting yourself through to a place you get excited about going to, and healthy food becomes something you love eating more than junk food. Herein, we see the journey and the way you transform as a person is far more important than an arbitrarily defined destination, and the metrics for success are far wider and more varied than one number, and it certainly has nothing to do with what anybody else thinks of what you do. About a year and a half ago, when I was stuck in my apartment with COVID, I got the idea that I was finally going to make some YouTube gaming content, but I didn't quite know how to go about it. I knew about G-Man and had been following him for some time, but I didn't really get a lot of recommendations for content like this because a man's got to sleep, you know. So I didn't know about other creators making this kind of stuff, and searching for topics like gaming news only really turned up outlets whose opinions have been called into question, creators with a heavy focus on negativity, or podcast style shows with just some of the most annoying people imaginable. Quick hint, screaming "what's up" into a microphone like you're in an early 2000s Bud commercial isn't a substitute for a personality, and it's not going to win over anyone who happens to be listening with headphones. Much like in .hack, I lacked the appropriate keywords to access this part of the online world, but searching for a Resident Evil retro review landed me square on this guy's page. And eureka! Not only had I found an entire channel of content to consume, but I saw how it was possible to make longer content in a chilled out way and stay positive throughout, and clearly there was an audience for this. We'll come back to Jared a little later. The important thing at this stage is, I decided to start a new journey, and at the time, I had no idea where it would lead me. It would be so easy to measure my success on YouTube by one single metric, and if that really were the case, well, Now look, I'm only human, and of course, I see successful creators on this platform, so sure, whenever I upload a video, I can't help but want and hope for this to be the one that breaks out, that the right collection of circumstances will come together at just the right time and unite to push my video to the top of the mountains of content being added every day, and the right people seeing it and by extension my channel blowing up, and maybe being able to create a side income stream for PC parts or holidays, and maybe one day even exiting my regular job to do this full time. However, were that the only reason, or even the main reason I was doing this, well, I'd have probably given up a long time ago. Nah, I do this because, well, I really enjoy doing it. I'm lucky enough to have the time to invest in it, and it's a great excuse for me to revisit all my old favourite games, and even some new ones. A kind of weaponized nostalgia. In all honesty, I doubt I would ever have played Quantum Break or Control if I hadn't done that Remedy Entertainment series, but I'm so glad that I did. So, sure, to the outside world who only judge success in a venture by one almighty metric, I've not done so well. But to be clear, I love all you guys. But, on the other hand, I have an engaging hobby that gives me something to get excited about when I go home from work. I've learned to use a new piece of software with DaVinci Resolve, and this connects in so well with other passions I have such as writing and 3D art. I've even started to get a little more creative with my sign-offs, creating what my friend Marky calls the Arkham Extended Universe, a name that really makes me laugh when I hear it. But that's not all I'm getting out of this. You see, by starting down a new path, I've also opened myself up to new opportunities. When I shared my review of Deus Ex to the official Deus Ex Facebook group, the very first comment came from JC Denton himself, J. Anthony Frankie. I mean, what the actual fuck? We chatted back and forth for a while, and he said I was welcome to add him as a Facebook friend, and now we talk quite regularly. Oh, and remember this guy from earlier? Well, if you follow his Twitter, you may be aware that he moved to Tokyo earlier this year, and well, long story short, we met in Shinjuku earlier this year, and it was really fun. So, I may not have all the money and all the bitches, but I've had so many nice comments with people making me out to be some kind of YouTube hidden gem, and it's so sweet and heartwarming that those little disappointments I feel about my view numbers are quickly washed away and forgotten. Oh, did I mention I went to fucking Romania this year? That's right. What started with a weird little raccoon avatar binging my content and leaving comments on my videos has blossomed into a true bromance, and led to me heading to Bucharest to meet the one and only Thesummerofmark. And guys, that's only part of what I'm getting from doing this. So, I'm not gonna finish by telling you to chase down your dreams, because to be honest, I'd say only a small fraction of us have even the vaguest notion of what it is we really want. And it's entirely possible to chase down something you think is perfect for you, only to be disappointed when you get it. What I am going to say is this: go on journeys. If you've got a goal to set your Polestar by, then sure, take a run at it. But just go out there and have an adventure. Let the road wind and pull you this way and that, stagger down paths you never knew existed, learn skills you never even knew you wanted, stagger and stumble and zigzag down that road and all the connecting roads while you're at it. It might take you a long time to reach the top of the mountain, or maybe you'll wind up ascending a completely different mountain, or maybe you won't ever get there. But when it's all over, you'll have one hell of a story to tell. Well, it's time to get back to our regularly scheduled program. And since we've been talking about journeys, I was thinking maybe it's time we took a journey ourselves. How about we took a long journey? Maybe a very long journey. In fact, why don't we take the longest journey? Well, hey there you. What are you still doing here? Looking for an extra thank you at the end of a video that's all about saying thank you? I could accuse you of all sorts of things, but instead, I'll just say thank you one more time. I don't normally shill for shares, but since I'm saying something a little more profound than, hey, isn't this 20-year-old game amazing? Maybe you could all help people see this one, and maybe we can put some smiles on some faces that way. Thanks for sticking around and for keeping on coming back. Don't forget to do all the channel stuff, and maybe come hit me up on Twitter sometime. Until next time though, peace out.